Okay, what I've done is I've moved the engine so that the timing mark, which is right by this screwdriver, see if we can see it, it's a little white mark at about 2 degrees before top dead center. Right there, that's the timing mark. I put it at 2 degrees before top dead center because it would be hidden entirely if it was on 0. So I know that number 1 cylinder is up at the top now. What I don't know is it on the firing stroke for cylinder 1 or is it 180 degrees opposite? Now I'm going to take off the distributor cap. There's a screw right in there that you press down on the screwdriver and turn, and there's a little L on the bottom of that that catches underneath the distributor to lock it on. Once you've got that free of this little tab on the distributor, it's off. There's 2 on this particular distributor. The other one's on the other side. I'm going to take that off and then remove the distributor cap. Okay, the other one is removed. We're going to take the distributor cap off. And all the wires are going to come with it. Now, this little tab on the rotor is what makes contact with one of the 8 contacts on the inside of the distributor cap in order to fire the cylinder. Now, the next thing we need to do, because I believe that's at 180 degrees off, but I'm going to show you how to determine whether you're on firing for number 1 or not. Okay, I'm going to remove the valve cover. In the interest of time, I've loosened it up already. I'm just going to take it off here. And we're going to take a look at our rocker arms, particularly on number 1 cylinder. Okay. The positioning of that distributor there is not where I would normally expect to find number 1, so in order to determine where exactly we are in the cycle, we're going to look at the rocker arms and watch how they open and close. Okay. Now, since this is the exhaust port, that's the exhaust valve, and if you look past the intake valve, you'll find that the intake runner comes down to it. So keep in mind we're on top dead center. Right now we should be at the end of the exhaust stroke. So I don't know what kind of overlap this cam has since I don't have it. I don't know what it is, rather. I'm just going to turn this and watch the valves, okay? You can see there that the intake valve is pushing down, so it's starting to open. That means we're on the intake part of the cycle. That will go all the way open as through about half a revolution here as it sucks fuel from that intake, and then it will close. When it closes and the exhaust valve is Still closed. That means we're on the compression stroke. So when I get back up to number 1, which I'm getting close to, and both of the valves should be closed. Now it's time for the cylinder to fire. And what will happen then, you're on your power stroke and both of those valves will remain closed as that cylinder generates power. When it gets to the bottom, the exhaust valve will open, and as the piston comes back up, the exhaust gets pushed out the exhaust port. Okay, now we're going to go back and take a look over at the distributor, and sorry for the shakiness. But we're going to look at where that rotor is pointing now. Okay. And it is pointing, let's say if I'm standing in the front of the engine, it's pointing at about 8 o'clock on the, if this was a clock, maybe a little after 8 o'clock. So when I remove the distributor, I don't want to roll the engine over anymore. But if I do, I know that I can put this back on number 1 using the technique I just showed you. And I can put the distributor in so that the rotor is pointing at that position. And it should be close enough to start. Before I pull that distributor out though, just so that I can assure myself of getting a close enough to start situation, I will mark the position of the distributor relative to the position of the intake manifold. So I can align those, and I'll know that I'm in the ballpark, and at that point the engine should start when I turn it over.